Krista Moore Show. I am doing a YouTube live. I just was thinking about something and wanted to share it with all of you. With Mother's Day just passing, I started to really reflect and reminisce about many of the women that have had impact in my life. And one of the first people that came to mind was Grandma Betty. And I wanted to share with you the life lessons I learned from Grandma Betty and hope that you can be reflecting back on your childhood, your past, your relationships, in particular with powerful women in your life, and understand what impact they had on you. So, number one, first off, I was born on her birthday. So that instantly made me kind of special and our relationship special. And the first thing that comes to mind when I think of life lessons from Grandma Betty is one time we're sitting at the kitchen table where we love to sit. And she said, Kristy, there's givers and takers in life, and you're either one or the other. And I swear I've gone through life, giver, taker, he's a giver, she's a taker. And that's just what a kind of a distorted way to look at people, but that's how I view the world. And she always said to me, and Kristy, you want to be a giver first. And she taught me the word reciprocity. Thank you, Grandma. Lesson number 2 is just ask. Now, we did share a birthday, and I wanted to do something special for her on her 80th birthday. So I asked my brothers and my mom and a lot of relatives, do you think that Grandma would take the day and a night and go to a spa? And they said, no way. She doesn't leave the house and she's never left Papa. She's not going to go. Well, I asked, and she said yes. Now, the day that I went to pick her up, I walked into the kitchen and she wasn't at the kitchen table. And I'm like, oh my goodness, where's Grandma? Is she okay? Is she ready? I'm like, Papa, is Grandma all right? Is she ready? And he said, she's been ready for days. And I went around the corner and down the stairs came Grandma Betty in her pink dress and her matching purse and shoes. She was ready to go to the spa. Now, when we got there, we had an absolutely fabulous time. And I remember sitting outside on a deck. She's smoking her cigarettes and I'm smoking my cigars. And we're talking about Aunt Shinny's Christmas 1968 and having a wonderful time. I remember saying to her, you know, Grandma, I asked everybody if they thought that you would want to come to the spa, and everyone said no. And she said, well, how would they know? No one's ever asked. Just ask. I wouldn't be able to share this beautiful, wonderful story with you today if I hadn't have asked. The third thing that she taught me is really what I would consider maybe one of the most remarkable things, because again, at her kitchen table where it was warm and comfortable and where I felt that I could be me, we would make so many memories. And I would share with her my deepest thoughts. And she would always be great at advice. She was definitely the wise woman. And I was struggling. I was having a hard time in my marriage. My kids were getting older and they were wanting more of me. And my boss was like making me travel all the time. And it was just too much. And I wasn't doing anything well. And I was complaining and I was talking to her about my situation. And she said, Kristy, why don't you just go put your name on a business card and go sell yourself? So I took Grandma's advice and I started my own business 18 years ago, and I never have looked back. I want you to take a moment and reflect on those relationships that are meaningful to you and that have had impact on who you are today. What lessons have you learned, and how can you give that back to the world? Thanks for joining me